Today we're gathering around the campfire with Maralyn, a QHS member whose life is as exciting and grounding as a hike through the mountains. But what trails did she tread to reach these heights? Let's trek into the wilderness and discover the adventures that led Maralyn to where she is today.
Welcome to my prequel. My name is Maralyn, and I was born in the 1950s and lived with my grandparents. My grandfather, in his early days, was a farmer. Then when he retired, he was a drover. He was popular with the farmers because his attention to detail and care of the animals. My grandmother was a very practical Christian woman, worked hard in her early farming life. She also taught herself to cook, and she was a great baker and a great cook. She encouraged me to bake and cook meals when I was about 8, around the age of 8. I never found out why I lived with my grandparents. If I asked, it was a different reason depending on who I spoke to. It was confusing for me. I had 3 brothers and a sister, younger than me, living in the same town. This situation weighed heavily on me as a child and in my young adult life. My parents divorced when I was about 6 or 7, and any contact with our father was discouraged by my grandparents. I definitely didn't agree with that. As I was like an only child and alone, I developed coping mechanisms. For example, with lots of imaginary friends, as I was told. In turn, I was labelled a problem child, quite troublesome in other people's opinions. I asked far too many questions and didn't adhere to the rules. I was always looking for the truth my entire life. My name's Maralyn. This is my prequel. So my grandparents were very loving, and I had everything I needed. As a youngster, I didn't enjoy school on any level, and I got bullied, and it was quite lonely. And my grandparents, to be honest, they didn't know how to support me. It just, they were a whole generation behind me, or 2 generations actually, isn't it, with my mother and me. If I would only do as I was told, instead of my stubborn determination, even throughout all that, I still had a really happy disposition. I seemed to be able to shrug things off and move on, which was wonderful, really. And I learned very early on in life that I was going to have to sort things out for myself, and there was only going to be me, no support from family. I needed to overcome a lot of obstacles and challenges, but that was helped me to get where I am today. While at times the lessons were difficult, I knew I had to look for the ways to overcome them. As I look back on my life, I have so much gratitude for the joy I now feel. For example, I gave birth to 2 wonderful boys who have grown to be great men, brothers, husbands, fathers. Looking back at the fun we had and the experiences we used to have sailing around the beautiful northern shores of New Zealand. Such beauty we shared. And all my boys wanted to do was find a surf beach. That didn't happen on the East Coast. After my boys had left home and they were on their own journeys, another fun experience was living off-grid in a place only accessible by water, cooking on a wood stove, using a diesel generator, relying on a water tank, but it was a beautiful place, beautiful experience, living close to the water, very close to the water, with fresh oysters, fish, shellfish, easily accessible. But it was isolated and lonely for me. After about 5 years, I had to find something else to get excited about. And the next highlight was living on a small block, raising dairy calves, some on nurse cows, some on buckets. And I loved the lifestyle. There were some sad times learning how to deal with the highs and lows of life on a farm. I took risks on my journey. Some worked, others didn't. The ones not so well, I was grateful for the lessons. So I've been married twice, realised it didn't work well for me. Not that marriage didn't work, it's just mainly because I didn't make good choices in my men. I had 2 other relationships for 7 years and 14 years. I also needed to rebuild my finances and material possessions from scratch 3 times. Thankfully, in those difficult times, we always had what we needed. I was made redundant twice. Even though I had no support from family, I had incredible, amazing friends. Challenges in the early days of being on my own were finding rental accommodation with children and finding reliable childminding when the boys were younger. My now partner and I have been together for 22 years. We complement each other, even though we have very different views the way we process information, but it works. He's a wonderful human being. He's smart, thoughtful, and very clever. Very handy for my garden. I dream the ideas and he puts them into reality. So my wish list for my QArc do-over. Thankfully, I don't have any big issues with my health. Also, there were some problems when I did my bioscan. However, I'm following suggestions from Darlene and I'm very grateful for that. I don't remember going to the doctor as a young person. I did have a couple of childhood illnesses, nothing major. However, I have a mouthful of amalgam fillings, and later in life I developed gum infections. I found it more cost effective to remove the affected teeth, and little did I realise until about 10 years ago how bad amalgam was for our health, and still have a few teeth with amalgam. So I was introduced to QHS via LWS in 2023. I didn't take up the first offer on the first invitation, and I did regret that decision. I couldn't wait until the membership reopened again to be part of this amazing journey. I joined QHS in August 2023. I received my first V6 QTWE mid-March 24 and the second one in June 2024. I've had many wonderful results while carrying my devices. Not only physical improvements, but my intuition is a lot clearer, and I have had patience and calm. I might have to stop there.
Okay. You want to switch papers or something?
Yeah, I've just got to change my paper and the sticky tapes come off it. Oh, there we go. So, I got up to, shall I go back to the last sentence?
I'm sure you can do that, and then that way she can bring it together.
Okay, so I've had wonderful results from while carrying my device. Not only physical improvements, but my intuition is a lot clearer, and I have patience and calm all the time. I am able to pretty much do anything I want physically with confidence. Thankfully feel blessed. My wish list for my QArc do-over. I would love my toes to all look lovely and straight. No varicose veins, no hip pain, no thyroid issues, 100% hearing, 20/20 vision, and a mouthful of healthy teeth. Skin, nail, and hair 100%. All my internal organs operating at 100%. And hopefully I can get back to my original height. So post QArc, I want to be running trails, dancing, more traveling, and wear shorts. Freedom to do anything and everything that make my heart flip and my soul sing. Heaps of energy to be of service, to make all healthy again. I'm grateful I was led to be part of QHS. It is a dream come true. From time to time during my life, I would reflect on what I would do differently if I had my life over again. Now here I am experiencing this real possibility. Thank you, Cynthia, Dr. A, Wade, and all the fabulous admins, volunteers at QHS. And thank you for encouraging me to be part of this wonderful reality, to have a 30-year-old body again, and in turn being a service to humanity for everyone to have health freedom. Blessings, ease and grace, love to all the QHS family. Thank you for listening.
Join us on the Prequel, where every story matters and every voice is heard. Because here at QHS, we're all about healing, learning, and growing together.